Challenger Racing second to last weekend, or I guess penultimate, as they would say in F1. We got this race weekend, and then we got next week, and next week is going to be the final weekend of Season 1, and it's going to be interesting tonight because we got a very close points battle going on. Currently, it is about a 14-point gap between Cobalt and Larson, and they have been really battling it out, going back and forth on points these last few weeks. We're going to go ahead, and I believe I got the okay to join in for their qualifying. So we're going to go ahead and hop in there. The music's going to play for... We're going to hop in there, the music's going to play, and we're going to get sued for it. Alright. We are going to... It's going to be interesting. I'm listening to their chat, so I'm getting a little distracted here. But, yeah, they've been going back and forth on the points big time. Really battling it out and just fierce competition. And we're going to two tracks that sort of breed chaos naturally. And when you got two guys that are fighting each other that hard at tracks like this, it's bound to be dramatic. So we're going to see what happens. But... Alright, real quick, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get Sabotage in the party he wanted in. So, if you give me a second here. Alright, the party has been created. I know we're missing out on a little bit of qualifying here. This is a bit unplanned there. Alright, so we are live with the qualifying, and it looks like it's the 3-car leading the way in the first qualifying session of the night. It's not very surprising. The thing about Darlington is it is borderline impossible to pass. If you get around the guy in front of you, he wanted you to pass them, or they just straight up gave it to you. If somebody wants to hold their position at this track, they're gonna hold their position. It's so narrow, there's so little room, and even where you think there might be room to pass on the bottom, if you try to put your car there are bumps and patches on this track that are so rough it is going to send you spiraling out of control. It's always best just to stay middle of the track, ride behind, and then wait for the guy in front of you to make a mistake, and that's what it takes here. You know, if they get into the wall, that's about the only way you're going to get around them. Duds obviously started P1 because he is hosting the qualifying and race sessions every week for Xfinity here. And the host gets to start P1, which is a bit of a disadvantage in qualifying, as we've talked about many times. But this is... I told you that story to tell you this story. Track position is going to be massive here. You can tell Duds clearly does not have the fastest car, although he just made a bit of a mistake there. Got a little bit loose back to the bottom of the track. He's going to let the 9-car go, but Duds started up front. He clearly didn't have the fastest car, and he held the lead for 5 laps simply by holding his line. There was absolutely nothing the 9-car could do to get around him, and you're going to see a lot of that in the race. It's going to take people making mistakes, making those bobbles in order to see any passing. And I think when it comes to the 18 and when it comes to the 1-car, they sort of got a bit of a rivalry going on. I think you're going to see some bumping and grinding going on. What about you, Cobalt, or Sabotage?
Well, you eventually you'll get it right.
Yeah, one of these days.
I was going to say, way to go there, DW. No,
I've only known you for like a year and a half, so...
I think it's going to come down. It's definitely going to come down between those two. They are fighting for a championship. I think that's mostly where the rivalry comes from right now. And it is going to be one of those things where it's gonna be a slight mistake. It's going to be a slight bobble at Darlington. And Duds ran fairly well here the few laps I got to run on Saturday with everybody. And I feel like he might have a hang of the track just a little bit. I know Cobalt definitely has a hang of the track. I've raced with him here numerous times. And he is hands down probably one of the best ones when it comes to driving around this track. So, I think he won when we raced in our old league a couple of times. I think he won like once, twice.
Yeah, I think the race that I led 95% of until you rear-ended me, I think he ended up winning that one.
I think he did too.
So the other car, on the other side of this rivalry, the 18, he's going to be interesting to watch this race too because he's fast here, and I think he might even be a little bit faster than Cobalt. That being said, and Larson himself admitted it, he's only fast here for so long. He tends to burn his equipment up very quickly. We saw in the Cup race, at least what I noticed when I was racing with him was, for about 10 to 15 laps, he would be substantially faster than me. But then once his tires were gone, they were gone. And I would actually start to reel him in and gain on him. And this isn't even one of my better tracks. This is probably one of my worst tracks in the game, and I was gaining on him once his tires wore. So he's definitely going to have to play it conservative. But it's Josh Larson with the bonus point for getting the pole there with a 30.2. Only, wow, only 6/100ths of a second over Cobalt. So that, at this point, every single point matters. I was telling
And I was
the
gonna say, and look at the times between those two. They're literally the next closest was Rowdy, and he was a full 10th off.
yep, 6/100ths of a second. And like I said, every point matters. It's now a 15-point gap. It went from 14 to 15 with that bonus point. But Cobalt wanted to see it go the other way. He wanted to turn that lead down to a 13-point lead, and he just couldn't pull it off.
I see Cobalt winning this race though. He's starting on the high side. He seems to do better when he starts out on the high side, especially at Darlington. You were at a little bit more of an advantage on the. Just a teeny bit too low. You're gonna hit that apron and you're gonna go up the track.
I think you're exactly right. We got to go ahead and to join in there, Sabotage, if you want to hop in. This is going to be interesting. So that outside might be advantageous.
I'm listening in as well, but I have them quieted down just so we don't hear all their chatter over everything.
Yep. But what do you think? Do you think Cobalt would rather have the point or his preferred starting position? Because I honestly couldn't tell you. Because sometimes
I think he's gonna prefer the starting position. When you
I don't
really
know.
think about it, he does better on the high side, and this is a track you want to start on the high side. This is one of my better tracks, which is what upset me about missing out on Saturday in the Cup race.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm usually doing commentary with you on Mondays, even though I'm running on no sleep right now, same with Snake. So anyway, no, this is one of my better tracks, and I prefer to definitely start on the high side. So as we jump in, it looks like...
Yeah, it looks like Snake had a bit of a bobble there. And the 20 and the 3, I believe it is. Yep, the 20 and the 3.
That's what it looked like. The 20 is a little bit all over the track. Hold on, let's...
Yeah, that is 3 cars with major issues. And I'm not hearing a caution get called. I believe they're going to keep it green for this first stage for now. And right now, your top 3...
So, I mean, and I don't think it's very many laps, so...
Yeah.
The 19, 20, and the 3. Oh, the 18.
Something happened with the 18 there.
Happened there.
He might have got a little loose coming out of the corner.
That's what I believe may have happened, because he was down on the bottom, and the 1 and the 9 just happened to get around him.
Yeah, at first I thought that a caution had been called for those 3 guys or something, and he was just slowing down, but no. He appeared to make a bit of a bobble there. Now the 9 and the 1 are really duking it out. The 9's putting the bumper to the 1 early on in this race. Now, the thing is, Cobalt wants to keep that 9 between him and the 18. Obviously, the bigger the gap between them, the more points he's going to make up for each stage. And, well, I'll put it this way.
He's getting into the bumper of the 9.
He is. He really is. And I'll tell you, there are 2 race weekends left. The gap is currently 15 points. That's not an insurmountable gap. It's not like he can't make that up. But that being said, as it stands right now, if they finished where they finish, or where they're running right now for this stage, the lead that Larson has is only going to drop by 2 points. So it's going to go from 15 to 13. Okay? And if that happened for both stages in the race, that's only going down to 11 points. So it is a slow climb unless something drastic happens at 18. So he's trying to put as much distance and as many cars between him and the 18 as possible. Now the 18 and the 9 are having a bit of a dispute here. The 9 didn't feel like he should have had to give that position up to a car on the outside, but he wound up having to do it, and I don't think the 9's too happy. So you may see the bumper get put to that 18. It's 5 to go in the stage right now, so it'll be no more manuals next time around.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a strange feeling we're going to see quite a bit of chrome horns going on in this race tonight.
I agree. And if that 9 can catch back up to the 18, I think you're going to see something happen there. I don't know.
I don't know if we're going to see it in this stage, but we are probably definitely going to see it.
Probably, definitely. That's how I would put it, too. That's for when you know it's going to happen, but you gotta kind of make it seem like maybe it might not, you know.
Yeah.
Leave it suspenseful.
That's one of those ones where you're like, I'm pretty sure I can see this happening, but in case it doesn't, I'm going to cover all my bases here.
That 18 car, he's going to try to do to the 1 car exactly what he did to the 9. I think he's going to try to get him on the high side like Cole Trickle. Unfortunately, Cobalt's not going to be as easy to pass as the 9 car. He is going to block whatever lane he needs to block, whenever he needs to block it. And at this point, with the points gap the way it is, I'm not sure he cares if he throws a bad block or not. Like, honestly...
I honestly don't think he does.
Honestly, I could see the 1 car chopping somebody's nose off and just being like, well, you know what? I had the spot. Yeah, he's got to make up all kinds of points, and you got to be aggressive to do it. To the outside goes the 18, pinched up the track by the 1. Nobody's home. Falling back into 2nd place. Looking low. Can he make it happen? A little bit of contact. 18's going to drop back just a little bit. 1 car was not having any of that. And now the 9 car back in the mix. I don't know if you've seen him sneaking up, but there he is.
I was going to say, he was sneaking up in there.
Oh!
The 18 around the wall right there. It looks like he may have put him in the wall just a little bit.
I think the 18 might have put him in the wall. You might see a bit of a punt coming up into, you might see a bit of a punt coming into this tight corner.
I don't know if we're going to see it in the first stage. I mean, yeah, it's a close points battle, but I'm pretty sure you might save it for the end and punt him on that last lap.
Yeah, that'd be the smart way to play it. And it looks like the 18 is going to win the stage from 15 points to 16. And that's not at all what Cobalt needed. He's going in the wrong direction. Going in the wrong direction, let me tell you.
I was going to say, but this is a strong track for Cobalt. So is Michigan. So I do think what happened there is he may have just came up a little bit too high. The 18 got into the 1, put him in the wall, and that kind of suffered it there. But I can honestly see Cobalt pulling out the next 5 stages.
Well, let's do some quick math here, Sabotage. Let's figure this out. So right now it is a 16-point gap. There's 1 stage left as well as the race end. There are 6 cars in the race, so that's a 6-point difference between first and last in a stage. So, if the rest of the race went literally perfectly for the 1 car, he could make up 6 points in stage 1 and bring it down to 10 points total lead. But for winning the race, you get 5 bonus points. So theoretically, if Cobalt swept the rest of this race and the 18 finished last in both remaining stages, Cobalt could take the points lead in a single race. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening necessarily, but it's a possibility, but I don't see it happening.
And the 1 car loose onto the infield. And he is screwed for this stage. That has huge championship implications because now those 6 points that we mentioned may be going to the 18 car. That's going to take it from 16 points.
There's that possibility we may get another caution.
It is a possibility. We got a lot of beating and banging up in front of the 1 car here, but this has the potential to go to a 22-point gap this stage. if the one car recovers no positions, if they don't get another caution. And unfortunately for the one car, everybody is so spread out right now. I just don't think you're going to see a caution.
I'm wondering if the one car made a bad adjustment on that last pit stop.
He might have. You might be onto something there.
He's not running nearly as consistently as he was before.
Yeah, you got to remember, he's also probably pretty frustrated right now. That being said, if he didn't make a bad adjustment, the only thing I can think of is maybe he hit that bump coming out of 2. That's a 2-car wreck.
2-car wreck. That's a caution right there.
That's got to be a caution. There's a car stopped on the track.
Looked like the 3 and the 19 were involved in that one.
I'm getting word that they're not calling caution for that.
I was going to say the same thing.
So, Cobalt now up to P3 due to everybody else's misfortune. So, right now, as it stands, it's going from 16 points to 19 points in the championship. It's an uphill battle for Cobalt. Not impossible, but it's getting more and more unlikely with every misfortune he's suffering. Meanwhile, the 18's doing what he needs to do. He's running consistent. He's been there when it mattered. He didn't lead much of Stage 1, but he led the one lap that mattered, and he got the points for it. He's got the car dialed in right now. I'm hearing on the radio he's liking the way it's handling. Pretty much no challenge from behind, although he does get into the wall a little bit. The 9 car does as well, so no dire consequences there. Yeah, it's looking like he might just run away with his stage and go ahead and sweep both stages for this race.
That's what it's looking like.
And if this happens, Cobalt's saving grace is going to be maybe the 5 points that he can get by winning this race. But here's the thing, and here's what's unfortunate for Cobalt. He lost 1 point in Stage 1. He's fixing to lose 2 points in Stage 2. I'm sorry, so yeah, it'd be 18 points. I'm sorry, 2 points, not 3. If he won this race and the 18 got second place, he would only come out 2 points closer to the championship than he came in. So he'd be taking it from 13 down to 11. So it's 4 to go. There's no more manuals. And so if anything happens, it's going to have to be a game caution. And we're going to ride along with the 9 car. Let's see if his line is differing from the 18 at all. I'll tell you what, Sabotage, I think I see what that 18 is doing for his speed. Go ahead and switch to the 9 car. Watch that 18. Tell me what you think.
Switch to the 9, watch the 18.
You see what that 18 car is doing?
It doesn't seem like he's letting off. 9's hitting the brake.
Yep. The 18 is rolling off the throttle and not braking. And he's running, like you said, he's running a much higher line than that 9 car in 1 and 2. But in 3 and 4, he's running a lower line. He's done that consistent. So if I was the 9 car, I would pick up on that and I'd say, hey, you know, I'm going to go ahead and try that out for myself. They are on the white flag lap for this stage. Although, one possibility is that the 9 car is purposely keeping his nose down under that 18 in order to break that draft. Keep his car from picking up that arrow push and going into the wall.
It looks like he's getting a run on him right now. He may end up being able to.
He dove it into 3 and 4, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be the 18 car claiming stage 2.
So it was the 18 and the 9.
From 16 points to 18.
1.
So this race is not going according to the 1 car's plan. Losing points at an exorbitant rate to the 18 car. But props to the 18 doing what he needs to do. Running smooth, running consistent. And I'm getting word that they're not going to have to pit for stage 3. It's going to be so short that pitting will not be required. So,
Wow.
so if they're gonna get their adjustments in, they got to do it under this caution. And also, that short last stage is exactly what the 18 wants. The 18 has a bit of a short run car, as we already talked about, and he's talked about it on the radio. I can hear him. But the 9 car and the 1 car have long run cars. Their fastest laps both came towards the end of the run. The 1 car missing a shift, I'm hearing. 19's going to drop low, then go back high. 3 car into the wall. And the 1 car up to 4th.
I was gonna say I thought we had a little bit more time. The 19 in the wall, the 1 car in the wall.
2 cars. Caution has been called. They're racing it to the line right now. The 9 car is going to send it coming out of the corner. Nobody's home. 18's going to get to that yellow flag first. And Cobalt suffering another misfortune. This is not how he wanted this race to go.
Frustration there from Snake. I didn't hear much from Cobalt, but I definitely did hear it from the 19.
Yeah, well, the 1 car is frustrated whether we hear it or not, but that 19 car, he was more confused than anything else. He said he hit the patch coming out of 2, and there is a patch there. If you guys have never raced here in this game, sort of like Daytona, there's just a patch of track that if you hit it wrong, it just turns your car. And when I say turns it, I don't mean it spins you out. I mean it literally turns your wheels, it feels like.
It really does.
So the 1 car, it might be making a bold play here. And the 1 stays out and the 18 pits.
I was saying the 9, the 20, and the 3 also stayed out.
Now, let me tell you, this just made things pretty interesting, and I think you know why. The 18 car is known for being able to do things like this, where he can pit, and he can lose all that track position, and he can just, start in the back of the pack, and within a couple laps, he's back up front. He has no problem working his way through the field and getting back up front. Track position to him is just child's play, but that's at most tracks. Darlington is not most tracks.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a completely different animal when it comes to the track. It can be, you can literally start dead last and all of a sudden be in first in a lap, or you can start dead last and be stuck there for the rest of the race.
Yep, and that is the more likely scenario. It is so hard to pass here. The 18 starting on the outside, he is likely going to be cleared by whoever's starting inside of him, which is looking like it's going to be... No, it's going to be the 20. It is spin or spin-E. I did forget about that. So the 1 and the 19 are starting in the back. The 18 is going to be starting on the high side. So our championship contenders now mixed in the middle of the field. We're getting ready to go green. This is going to be some action-packed racing for the end of Darlington. Green flag is out. The 1 car gets a good jump, and the 18 gets a huge jump. He is pushing the 20. I'm hearing over the radio that the 20 missed a shift.
Right.
Oh, chaos as the 18 and the 20 are making contact. The 3 missing several shifts.
3 ended up going low and letting the 1 around him.
And it's the 18 that's going to benefit from all that chaos. The 1 car, unfortunately, was a bit of a casualty there. 18 into the wall.
Is the 20 gonna be nice? 20 looks like he may.
He's letting him go.
20 is gonna go
I'm hearing on the radio. He's letting him go.
Well. They know they're battling for a championship right now.
The 1 car now on the bumper of the 18. Now, Cobalt's not a dirty driver by any means, but you got to think. With all the points he's lost, and it is now time to go and get as many points as he can, do you think he puts the bumper to the 18 out of desperation?
I think he's going to put the bumper to him. I don't necessarily know if he's going to wreck him, but I think he may try to rattle his cage a little bit.
Well, this is a track where you can bump somebody and not wreck them because they don't got far to go before they get into the wall. So, I think if he were to send it into 3 and 4, the tighter of the two corners, he may be able just to get him a little bit high, get him into the wall, and go around him if he so chose. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but the 18 into the wall. Now the one car diving low. He making the pass on the inside of turn 1. Contact. 18 car into the wall. Maybe a little bit of payback from earlier. But the 1 car now ahead of the 18. And the 9 car, while all this is going on, is just driving away.
There was no contact on mine. The 1 got around him clean. All of a sudden, the 18 just kind of fell back.
Yeah, on my screen, it looked like there was a little bit of contact there. It looked like the 18 got some help, but... the 18 is sounding a little bit agitated over the radio. So we'll see what happens there.
I was going to say, here's my question. Is the 1 going to be able to catch up to the 9?
I tell you, that 9 car...
Keep in mind, I haven't really been able to, pay that much attention. But I believe the 9 isn't extremely far behind the 1 and the 18 in points.
No, I don't think he can win the championship.
But I don't think he's far behind.
Yeah. The 1 car might be able to catch the 9, but it's going to take him some time, and it's going to have to be slow, methodical gains each lap, because that 9 car is scarily consistent here at Darlington. In the Cup race, that's what I saw, I saw him being the most consistent driver. And the 1 car, now in the wall, losing all of his momentum. Is the 18 going to get back around him? No, the 18 car not going to be able to capitalize. The 1 car holding second place.
Alright, we've had this happen. If you don't know if they're frozen or not, ask me.
Happy I even put them away.
Huh?
Be happy I put them away.
The 1 car into the wall again. The 18 now breathing down his neck, diving to the inside. Cobalt is not going to give up that position. If the 18 is going to get around him, he's going to have to fight for it. And the 1 car is clear, maintaining his position, but now the 18 fighting back on the high side.
Low. The 18 is on the high side. 18 gets around him going on the high side.
Oh, 1 car clips the apron, has to correct it. Lose a little bit of time. The 18 is now up into second place. One car growing increasingly agitated with himself there. He made a few mistakes and was not happy about it. I would say, right now, it is the 9 car's race to lose. He's driving away with it. But the battle is between the 18 and the 1. White flag of the race. 9 car just has to bring it home. And the 1 car lost points in every stage to the 18 car. I don't even know what the points gap is now, but it is considerably larger than it was coming in. And there's only 3 races left in the season. 1 race tonight and 2 next week. Here comes the 1 car to the inside. He's going to try to get that extra point, but no. And Rowdy.
Looks like it's the 9, the 18, the 1.
Rowdy is going to sweep the lady in black, winning in Cup and Xfinity. So.
Oh, the 20, the 19, and the 3.
Yep. All right. What do you say we get some of them drivers up here for an interview there, Sabotage?
I was going to say, let's go ahead and do it. I'll go.
Invites are out, and we are now awaiting. Invites are out, and we are now awaiting Cobalt does gain 1 point with the fastest lap, but doesn't really make up for what was
Sure,
lost there.
that was an extremely fast lap.
That was a good lap, but all right. We'll start with our third place podium finisher, Cobalt. Audible frustration over the radio. I know you probably don't want to be here, so I'm not going to keep you too long, Cobalt, but just seemed like that car never got dialed in the way you wanted it. Definitely not the race you wanted to have, but you still brought it home third. Were you struggling with the track itself or just the setup on your car?
I just had to be the track, man. The car was really fast when I hit my marks. It's just I shot myself in the foot too many times. I kind of followed Rowdy up into the wall about a handful of laps ago, and I mean, I hit it a whole lot harder than he did, and I just couldn't get off of it. He recovered pretty well, and then I just fell back to third and couldn't go anywhere.
Yep, not the race you wanted to have, but got another race tonight. Maybe you can make up the points that were lost there. Second place finisher, Josh Larson. It looked like your car was solid on the short runs, at least for the first two stages. Then it kind of faded later on. But then in that third stage, it did not look anywhere near as good as it was originally. Did you make some adjustments to that car and just go the wrong way?
Yeah, well, we knew that the 9 had us beat on the long run, and he's been that way all weekend. So I had a chance to split tire strategy with him, and we actually went in and loosened it up a little bit because I was actually tight, and we loosened it up and big swing on it, and it just tightened it up for some reason, and we could just never recover until like 2 to go. I think the car finally started loosening up and coming around, but for whatever reason the setup just went the wrong way and kind of threw it away. I feel like again. But yeah, car was good on a short run, and we did what we needed to do tonight.
Yep, you built up more of a points cushion there for these last two races. It's not an insurmountable gap for Cobalt, but it's definitely not going to be as easy as it would have been to overcome. So that's going to be quite interesting. You did a good job tonight doing what you need to do. Smooth, consistent. You were there when it counted. You got that stage win. Actually, both stage wins, I believe. So good job there. Race winner, Rowdy. Talk about consistent. Swept Cup and Xfinity here. Just smooth laps all night long.
One of the best performances I've seen
I mean,
Darlington.
I don't think I saw you hit the wall one time.
I got into it a little bit with a handful of laps ago, like Cobalt said, but that was it.
Yep, that is an impressive feat. Did you make any pit road adjustments on that car, or were you just running straight slider?
I had slider, but then I adjusted just a little bit on each stage, and I set myself up pretty well.
Fine tuning. So it seems like you really own this track with this league. I mean, it really seemed like nobody had anything for you either weekend. Before we end this interview, what kind of driving tips would you give people for this track?
Really just be consistent and stay off the wall. I mean, that's it.
Two big things. All right, well, go and get him at Michigan. We'll interview again for another win, hopefully, and we will see you then.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, Cobalt audibly frustrated there. And you know as well as anybody, sabotage. It's just
it's going to come down between Michigan. Where are we at next week? I know we finish at Homestead.
It's going to be Bristol and Homestead.
Okay, so yeah, Michigan, Bristol, and Homestead. He's not the best at Bristol. He's
good at Bristol. It's going to be interesting. I'll say this. At this point, just doing the quick math off the top of my head, if Cobalt has a bad race at Michigan, that may just be the championship for Larson. He might not mathematically lock it in, but it might become borderline impossible or extremely unlikely for Cobalt to make those points up in the last two races. So if he wants to win this championship, he has to perform at Michigan. He's gotta be there when it counts. And even if he can do that, even if he can make up a lot of points at Michigan tonight, it's still going to be difficult, and he's still going to have to outclass the field next weekend if he wants that championship. But the thing is, and you know as well as anybody, Sabotage, it's always the most frustrating when you got nobody to blame but yourself. You know, if somebody wrecks you, or you just don't have a good setup and you know that you just don't know what to do to make the car decent, you can kind of brush that off and say, well, there wasn't really anything I could do. But in a situation like this, where put yourself in Cobalt's shoes here. He said himself, he wrecked himself at every possible opportunity. That's one of the things he said on the radio.
Yeah.
That is more morally devastating than any other situation in racing. You know, when you got nobody to blame but yourself,
Easily.
that is hard on you. And I think he's going to have to really fight to overcome that negativity, and you know, he's going to have to try to put that behind him before we get to Michigan.
It easily is.
So they are currently setting up qualifying for Michigan. Invites are out, and we are waiting for the OK to join. Sabotage. Michigan is sort of a better track for you. I remember you used to run pretty decent here back in the high side. If you're Cobalt,
I was going to say both of the tracks this weekend are actually pretty good for me.
yeah. Now, if you're Cobalt and you're in a pretty much a must at this point, if he wants any chance next week, he's in a must-win situation. He's got to win Michigan. What are you gonna do at Michigan differently than anybody else to try and pull that off?
Well, me personally, I would definitely make sure that on this one the setup is right. On Heat 2, when I was actually really good at it, I was definitely what I did would I would be running the high side a little bit more. I'd actually fall back and be in the draft behind somebody. I could be running second or third, which is consistently usually about where I ran, maybe fourth or fifth, depending. And B Hicks was in the race, I was definitely running fifth. I would usually stay back running the draft and then try to get a run coming off 4. That's probably going to be his best bet. Stay in the draft, get that run, get it coming off of 4, get back in the draft. Or get out front and stay out front.
I agree.
If he starts out front, then he's got nothing to worry about.
Yeah. All right, we're good to join in, Sabotage. And I am hopping in.
It's joining right now for me. And let's go to the live race.
Now, the fun thing about this track is it, you know, especially in Xfinity, it is a plate track. It's not really a plate track. They're not running restrictor plates, but the racing is nearly identical. You know, it's like you were talking about earlier. We were talking about, purposely staying behind so you can get that draft and slingshot ahead of people. That is exactly how you run this track. You almost don't want to be in the lead. Like, that is almost a disadvantage in and of itself.
Yep.
And so it's going to be a wild card. It is anybody's game as long as they can keep it on the track for long enough to be there at the end. It's anybody's game, and I think you're going to see that in qualifying as well.
Cobalt is running behind behind Duds right now, getting that draft, and it looks like everybody else is kind of split up just a little bit. That is what I would be doing right now. That is the smart thing to do, in my opinion. 18's running up high by himself.
Well, I'll tell you, that 18 can make the high side work here pretty well. There's been times. I remember when I was racing with him here in a public lobby one time. I think before he was ever even in the league. He was to my outside. I was running the inside, and I think this was back in Heat 2 even. I don't even think this was on Heat 3. This is back in Heat 2. And we stayed side by side for about 3 laps with him on the outside. And I remember thinking, how is he doing that? How is he keeping all that speed on the high side without just sliding up into the wall? Because there's no way I could do that. To this day, I don't know how he does it, but it's something he is pretty exceptional at this track. It's not ideal. It's not the line he wants to run, but if he has to, he can. And that's a bit of a.
Go ahead and point out, I know this is qualifying, and I don't mean to interrupt you there, Kurt, but the 19 is running very, very consistently. He's helping out the 1 here, so he's definitely putting the bumper to the 1, helping him out, giving him that little bit of a run. He looks like he just kind of got strung out up on the high side just now, but he's still staying fairly consistent running with the 3.
I'll tell you,
if we do this in the race, then we might end up seeing an upset tonight.
We could see the 19 snag a win. You never know. It is anybody's game, and mind you, that 19 car, he's been in contention. If he stays awake, yeah, he's going on no sleep. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, me and Snake and Duds in the 3 car there, or not Duds, I'm sorry, Sabotage in the booth with me. I don't know why I thought Duds. Me and Sabotage and Snake, we all watched WrestleMania last night. I don't even watch wrestling. I don't even know why I watched it, but they were watching it. I was like, okay, fine, I'll check it out. And so we stayed up late doing that, and then apparently Snake just could not fall asleep, had a bit of insomnia there. And he messages us this morning saying he's racing on 0 sleep, he didn't fall asleep, he's dead tired. And I'm like, Snake, I have gone 3 days without sleeping for no particular reason at times. There's just been spans of several days where I physically cannot get to sleep. And in those periods, I have ran league races, and I won league races. So he needs to get out here. He needs to get a win. He can still do it. But I want to mention, on Fox, they do the ones to watch segment, halfway through the race where the commentators will where they pick a driver they think's gonna win the race. I'll tell you, my one to watch is gonna be this 3 car. He is a former winner in another league here at Michigan. He's actually a 2-time winner.
He will tell you that.
Yes, he will tell you that many times. In fact, if you even mention Michigan in any capacity, even if you're not talking about the track, he'll tell you, I won at Michigan. So he's won here a couple times in other leagues, and nearly won here in our old high side league. Didn't quite pull it off.
I was going to say, I think if I remember correctly, that race actually came down, I think there was four or five of us that were almost won that race.
Yep, and then some of us, like myself, ended up sliding across the finish line upside down, and it's Duds on the pole. What did I say? I said he's the one to watch, and he is on the pole. So Cobalt just not getting the lap in. Neither did the 18.
The 20 and the 9 both tied on their lap time.
Wow. That's impressive. So I'm going to be watching that 3 car. I think he's got something. Alright, so I'm getting word that we are clear to join. So, Duds, starting on the inside row 1, that could be a huge advantage, because that outside line don't come in until at least a couple laps into the run. So he should be able to get clear of second place, and if he plays his cards right, if he holds his line, he might be able to get a fairly simple stage win here.
Very, very true. You do realize we are never going to hear the end of this from Duds now, right?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be bad enough with the pole, but can you imagine if he wins this race?
I'm not even. That's what I'm saying. I'm just talking about the pole.
Well, I'll tell you, he is definitely hungry for a win because he hasn't won since Pocono, which I believe was the second weekend of the season, and he won that on fuel mileage mostly. He had a good car. He was one of the fastest cars in at Pocono, definitely top 3. But he wasn't going to win the race, it didn't seem like, unless it came down to fuel mileage, and it did. The 2 leaders managed to... Whoa, what is going on? We're missing a car.
We are. We are actually missing.
Alright, they're going to have to back out and pick Rowdy up. The 9 car lagged out there. Unusual from Rowdy. His internet is typically pretty decent. I've never really seen much lag out of him.
That would have been the never-ending lobby if we would have stayed in there. Florida has the type of heat where you get pissed off for no reason. I've never read something more accurate in my entire life.
Alright, I'm gonna have a word with the drivers. Yeah, 10-4, Roger Dodger, Rubber Duck. I backed out. Am I good to join back in, or are we... Okay. Alright, there we go. We're waiting on the signal. Alright, we are good to join in. If you want to accept that invite there, Sabotage.
I'm hopping in. You should be here.
Alright. Alright, so they are pacing. Because they had to get reordered. Obviously, once they left the lobby, they lost their starting positions. So they're doing a pace lap to get reorganized here where they need to be, where they qualified. It's going to be 6 laps in stage 1 with this pace lap, so very short. I feel like... That's going to be a dash for cash right here. It's gonna, I tell you. What are your predictions, Sabotage? On a scale from 1 to chaos, what do you think's going to happen here?
Chaos.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree. This is going to be interesting. Alright, they're coming through the tribal out of 4. Getting ready to take the green flag. Let's ride along with Snake for this start. Green flag is in the air. The 1 car missing a shift.
I don't know what happened. I think the 20 may have missed a shift.
I heard over the radio the 19 spoke directly to the 1 car, and he said, and I quote, "You gotta learn how to shift." Yeah. So the 1 car's still in the draft. It's not exactly over, but man, this stage is so short. He's gonna have to get going if he wants to go at all. The 19 car, though, went from last to second in a single lap, and we were riding on board as it happened. No more manuals already. It is 4 to go in this stage. Wow, this is stupidly short. Oh, and the 19 dipping a little bit low, back up high.
19 with a nice save there.
Yeah, made a good save. 19 car appears to be very, very loose. Oh, 19 into the apron, saves it. And the 3 car driving away as all of this battling is going on behind him. Holy crap.
Oh my. Hey, remember how we said this race was going to be chaos?
Yeah. Well, there it is. 19.
19 going high. Whoa.
19 way high, and into the wall he goes. That's his stage done. We apologize to the viewers at home for that language coming through the radio on Sabotage's backfeed. Fox Sports 1 does not condone... Okay, we're not Fox Sports. Yeah. Obviously, the driver of the 19...
has no affiliation with Fox Sports.
Yeah, don't sue us. The 1 and the 18 now, bumper to bumper. I believe this is 2 to go, so I think they're going to take the white flag next time by. I kind of lost count of laps. I was so wrapped up in all the action.
18, the 1, and the 9, and the 3 is just kind of almost running away with it. And the 18 dives low.
The 3 throwing away the lead so late in the stage.
Here's my question. Is the 1 going to go for it? Is the 9 going to go with the 1?
The 1 car looks low.
The 1's going for it.
He's got the quarter panel. He's got the quarter panel, but will he get the run? He got a fairly solid exit, about as good as you could ask.
He's got the 9 going with him. It looks like he's going to end up getting past
the 9's got draft help. Now, anytime you enter 1 so low, you got to lift a lot. The 18 knows that. Fighting back on the high side, like we talked about earlier. Oh, contact!
And
the 8 and the 18 and the 9.
9 bobbles.
I can't tell who got second that stage. I know the 1 car won it, though. So for the first time tonight, he's closed the points gap.
That was between the 9, the 18, and the 3. All pretty much came across the line at the same time. The 3 was slightly behind.
Yeah, I can't tell who got second between the 9 and the 18. So a stage win for the 1, the first stage win of the night. So it's not much, but it's 2 points.
I just asked the Rowdy got second. So
Yep.
the 9 got second, the 18 got third, and then Duds came across the line in fourth.
So, yeah, not much, but 2 points gained by that one car on the 18 in the points battle. Unfortunately, though, he really needs to start trailblazing through the points, because 2 points just isn't enough. We got 1 weekend left after this, and the points gap just kept growing and growing up until now, so.
I was going to say, if there's anybody that I can see that can pull it off, though, it is going to be Cobalt.
We'll have to see. Let's ride along with the 3 car for this restart.
Last time that I was able to do the broadcast. He is a hell of a wheelman when it comes down to it.
Oh yeah. But so is that 18 car. So it's a.
So is that 9.
Yeah, they all are. We got some good drivers in this league. Some of the best. Getting word over the radio that the 18 car.
Not calling out where he's at.
The 18 has made some adjustments, and from the sounds of it, he likes the way that car is handling. A little bit of contact between the 3 and the 20, but yeah, that is not good news for the 1 car. The 18 is getting that setup dialed in.
Yes, he is.
And the 19 out of the draft.
And the 18 just sailed around the 1. I have not seen that. 9 and 20 making a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, that 18 car is dialed in. I'm not sure anybody has anything for him at this point in time.
Looks like the 3 might be trying to help out the 1 just a little bit. Until he hits the wall. The 3, not the 1.
5 to go in stage 2. The 1 car seems to be slowly gaining, possibly due to the draft. But it might be a little too slow. Down onto the apron dive all 3 of the leaders, trying to break that draft. The 18 car does not want the 1 to stay in his draft and close that gap up any more than he needs to, so he is swerving up and down the racetrack trying to break that momentum. But it's in vain, as the 3 car is pushing the 1 car down the straightaway, closing the gap by nearly 4 car lengths in a single trial. That was a run.
And keep in mind, the 3 is the teammate to the 18.
Yeah, the 1 car is in a bit of a dud MC sandwich right now. Got 1 teammate ahead of him, 1 teammate behind, and he is all by himself. I don't think Cobalt even has a teammate, so.
I was gonna say he's a one man team. He's like the Wood Brothers. He's got an affiliation with Penske Loudmouth Walrus, but that's about it.
3 to go at the line. Doesn't sound like the 18 car is too pleased with the 3 helping his points rival close that gap.
See, here's my thing though: is if they catch up, I don't see the 3 helping him out that much more. But he's definitely not going to be helping out the 18 either.
Yeah, I think Duds is trying to help himself at this point. Whoever he has to draft with to get up front, it doesn't really matter. He'll do it. So, Cobalt, the 18, the 9 car, the 19, it don't matter. If there's draft to be picked up, he's gonna take it. 2 to go on the stage. 18 closed up a lot that 1 lap, but just hasn't really got a whole lot closer since then.
You mean the 1?
Yeah, the 1 car. Sorry. Closed a lot that straightaway, and then kind of lost it.
18 got out there into the clean air, and he just kind of put it on cruise control.
Yeah, this may be another stage win for that 18. White flag is in the air for this stage. 1 car falling back slightly. That's what the 18 wants to see.
Right on board with the 1. The 18 died real low down across the backstretch, trying to break that draft.
How hard does the one car send it? Let's find out. Not hard
I
enough.
can tell you this much: he is not letting up off that gas. He had it wide open all the way through turns 3 and 4. It's the 18, the 1, the 3.
The 9, the 20, and the 19.
9, 20, 19.
So, stage win for the 18 car. Dud's getting a podium. He could very easily get a podium finish in this race, if not win it. Now I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to assume there won't be any green flag stops this race. But if there is, that's going to be interesting, because this is one of the more difficult pit road entries.
That's very, very true.
Dud's on the inside behind his teammate. I bet you he's going to make some moves early on to try to get that lead. If he can. To the inside of the 1 goes the 3 up to 2nd. Or at least trying to.
I was going to say he's trying to.
And he is now clear up into 2nd place. 9 car not
And the
far
one
behind
got
him.
out to dry up on the high side.
Yes, he did. He had to start on that high side, and there's just, like I said earlier, that high side don't pick up for about 2 to 3 laps into the run. Lap 1, it's not the place to be. So he's going to drop back to 4th. But he can work with that 9 car, see if he can make something happen. He's also got the 20 behind him. And, you know, the 20, we don't talk about him a whole lot, but he is quietly a good draft partner. Every time we've been at a plate track or at a track that has a lot of drafting, I have always appreciated the help of that 20 car. Eagle is fantastic at that. But the 3 car now making a move to the inside early on. Side by side with his teammate coming down the backstretch.
He's at the door. The 9 is coming up to give him a little bit of a push.
And he's clear as the 9 car gets on the apron. He's going to be way loose. Did he save that? No, the 9 car around.
Spinning.
That's a 1 car incident. That will not be a caution. Seemed like he just made a bit of a mistake there. Just got on the apron, spun out. I mean, it happens. 18 puts the bumper to the 3.
A little bit of contact to the 3.
Yeah, I don't think Dud's going to be too pleased about that. I'm not sure he's going to be feeling real neighborly with his teammate there after that, so we'll see what happens. Can Dud's fight back on the high side like his teammate is known to do at this track?
I don't think he can, but I think if he stays in that draft, I think he might be okay.
Yeah, man, he's trying to fight back on that high side. He's almost making it work. He's going to dive low here. Not quite, huh? Nope, not enough. He had the run, but unfortunately just stalled out there. That 3 car is solid right now, but I just don't think it's quite as solid as that 18 setup. He's getting these massive runs and just nowhere to go with them.
Yeah, I was going to say that's...
Man, looks like the 3 car got a little bit loose. And the 18 now out to a commanding lead. Not too many laps left in this race. It's definitely a short race, and that might have been it.
Really,
I think
it really is.
I haven't heard 4 to go yet, but
He's looking like he's wanting to keep drafting with the 3. He's trying to draft with the
dude, I'll tell you. Look at this. That 3 car and the 1 car worked together that last lap, and they closed the gap by nearly half. If they can do that again, they'll be right on the bumper and they'll be able to strike.
If they do that, they will have the lead.
The problem is, I think what's going to happen is what happened in the last stage where it was the one car in front and the 3 behind, and they tried to suck up to that 18, but they just couldn't. It was like they gained a certain amount, and then it just stalled out. It was like they could not get any closer. The draft was just no longer beneficial to them. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen again or if they're going to be able to close that gap. It looks like they closed it a little bit more that lap.
I was going to say, it looks like they're closing it quite a bit. I'm riding on board with the 1 right now. And it looks like they're consistently getting a little bit closer. The 18 dives low to try to break that draft. Comes right back up the track.
Oh, but it bit him. He dove too low. He covered too much distance on the track, lost a little bit of ground to that 1 car. If he does that again...
He did. He really did. He dove extremely low right there.
If he does that again, he's going to have duds on his outside. They are now to his bumper. It is a 3-man battle for the lead. Anybody's game at this point. To the inside goes the 3 with the help of the 1. He's got the quarter panel. Now the 1 car, almost looking low, backs out, just thinks better of it. The 1 car still pushing the 3 side by side down the backstretch. That 3 is trying to take back what he lost, but the 18 is going to barely get clear, it looks like.
And the 3
What happened to that 3 car? So we got green flag stops. They are pitting.
Whoa! We almost had a wreck right there coming across into the pits. The 18 slowed up really, really quickly all of a sudden in front of the 1. So I feel like the 18 didn't know that he wanted to pit right there. And he decided to go and pit. And once he decided to go and pit, he did not mention it to anybody over the radio.
There is a little bit of arguing going on between the 3 and the 1. The 3 did not call out, like you said, he didn't call out that he wanted to pit. And so the 1 car was trying to push him to the lead, and they could have done it. But the 3 car, without saying a word, just kind of slammed on the brakes and tried to go high.
The 18 did the same. That's something that I'm not really understanding. Is the 18 and the 3 apparently communicated to each other that they were both going to pit on that lap, but they did not communicate it to anybody else.
Yeah, and I don't understand the 3's lack of communication there because he's got a guy pushing him trying to get to the lead, and then he just slams the brake. I mean, honestly. And listen, and let me take off my my commentator's hat and put on my driver's hat. If I'm driving that 3 car, and I've got Cobalt pushing me like that, even if I planned on pinning that lap, if I got enough gas to go around one more time, I'm going to do it because we were clearly faster than the 18. And if we can make a lap in clean air without the 18 in front of us, we're going to cycle out in front of them. That was the worst possible move that could have been made right there. That was the absolute worst possible move that could have been made. It's unfortunate. I don't think Duds had any malicious intent, obviously. It was just a mistake. We all make mistakes. But just an absolutely costly...
I don't think he thought that one through. I don't think he thought...
No, that was...
He thought, if I pit with my teammate, then my teammate still has a chance to win. I have a chance to win. I don't think he realized the 1 was helping him more so than the 18 was.
Yeah, that was just a lapse in concentration, I think. It happens. Usually in races that are a little bit longer. You usually don't have a lapse in concentration in a race that's short, but it does happen. And, it was a mistake. Duds feels bad about it, I hear over the radio. But, man, very costly. That pretty much...
1's finally coming into pit.
That may have gift drafted the championship to that 18 car.
See, I don't think it did. I think what the 1's going to do, I think I'm keeping an eye on the 1. I think what he's going to do is I think he's going to come in, I think he's going to get gas, I think he's going to go right back out.
Yeah, I don't think the 1 car, if he pits, is even going to be nearly as close enough. But I'm getting word that he's not even going to pit. He's going to either try to make it or he's just going to run out. At this point, he's so frustrated, he doesn't even care.
I was going to say, the one just pitted.
Yep,
Got
he
gas
just
and
came
he's
in.
back out on the track.
Cycling out ahead of the 18, but he has no tires. He has no tires. So this is going to be interesting because I do believe the 18 took 2. I could be wrong. We got a car out of gas on the front stretch. The 20. A battle for the lead that I did not expect. 18 going high. Does the one car run him up? Force him out of line. One car is going to get a good run coming out of the corner. They're going to stay side by side.
Good battle going on right here.
The camera is glitching out. We lost visual there for a minute, and the 18 is clear. One car is going to fight back for it, though.
One car is not going down without a fight.
Just nothing home. And the race is over. The 18 has won, and the one car got second. That pit road mistake, that is what cost him. Or pit road entry. That's what cost him. Because the 18 barely got around him, and that was after he lost several seconds to that bobble. So definitely a shame. All right. Who finished third place in that race? Do you know, Sabotage?
I'm not actually sure. I was too enthralled in watching the battle for the lead. Let's find out. Let me hop into the... Who came in third? Who got third? Cool. Duds.
All right. Yep, invites are out. Alright, there's our second place finisher, Cobalt, in the 1. Currently waiting on the race winner and third place, but I guess we'll start with Cobalt. Disappointing run, obviously. I'm frustrated for you, man. You had a great car. Rowdy with the fast lap, by the way, grabbing that bonus point. If it had not been for that pit road entry miscommunication, you probably would have won that race. I can't even imagine the frustration, but it looked like you got your car more dialed in towards the end of the race. That really seemed like a case where it was just more battling the drivers and not the track or the car, you know?
Yeah, it's just a plate track, man. Like, I think Josh probably had the best car. He once he got his tire pressures in on that second run, I couldn't run with him when it was just me and him. I mean, I could run with him, but I just couldn't run faster than him or catch him. But it was a good race, man. I don't have anything to be. I'm not really worried about anything. I mean, I just didn't know what the situation was, and had I known, it might have turned out different. But I can't blame it on that. I still had a chance to win the race and didn't win it, but I think the best car won the race. So I mean, it was a good night, man. You know, I mean, everybody had a good time both races, so that's all you can ask for.
Yeah. Well, second place ain't too bad. Nothing to be too upset about, I suppose. But Duds, you brought it home third. You had a fast car, man. There were times where you and the one car were working together, and I thought for sure you were gonna be able to take the lead. Were you running the same setup as your teammate, or you just did you do something a little bit different? Because it looked like your car might have been a little bit better.
I just the car. I mean, it was fast. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get it down deep into the corners like I wanted to. It was kind of tightening up on exit or halfway through. I tried to push Cobalt there. You know, I've always worked well drafting with him in the past. Trying to catch Josh. He was playing, you know, keep away up there most of the night. You know, weaving back and forth, and I don't know, just freaking things didn't work out. I feel bad for Cobalt. I saw what the A team was trying to do with pit strategy, and I tried to not let them get away with that, and I fucked us both up, and it is what it is. I screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, lapse in concentration, it happens. Everybody makes mistakes. It is what it is. Doesn't sound like Cobalt holds too much of a grudge against you, so that's good. Um, I think you guys will you'll still be friends tomorrow. But yeah, solid run. I really thought you had a good shot to win that thing. You got the pole. I think that's your first pole award in quite a while. So, congrats on that. Did good there.
Yeah.
Um, Also, another thing a positive to take away from that is you did absolutely phenomenal holding your line. I know at Talladega you had some issues with the car kind of drifting all over the place, but you looked so consistent tonight. I mean, just, you know, being where you needed to be, running the same lines lap after lap, you ran great. I would take this as a positive, move into next week, and try and grab a win in the final week. So, congrats. Josh, you won the race just barely. Snuck past the one car, and it was smooth sailing from there. Cobalt said he thought you had the best car of the night, and it's kind of hard to argue with him. I mean, seemed like once you got into clean air, that was just all she wrote. Nobody had anything for you.
Yeah, once you got into clean air, man, you were dialed in.
Yep, and it was
Yeah,
largely similar in Cup. Same thing there. I mean,
yeah, we're pretty good on the start. If it's a short run, our car turns. We've got grip, but we're still battling the same thing on a late run car. We just can't get the long run dialed in. But thankfully, pretty short race, kind of just like, I mean, all season these short races kind of play into our favor. And yeah, the car was turning really good. I was a little tight on the first stage, so we threw a bunch of tire pressures at it to try to loosen it up. We finally got it rotating really well to where once I was in clean air, I felt like I could pull away, so I was doing everything possible to keep them off my draft that second stage, and I felt like it worked pretty good. And then there at the end, leading, man, I just don't like diving in front of people on pit road. So I was trying to pull up and just kind of let them go by and kind of sneak into pit road there and grab a splash of fuel for the end. And I don't know what happened there with between my teammate there and the three car and the one car, but I guess they got into it a little bit, and I found my opportunity to get in there since they weren't working together drafting at that point. And boy, when we caught that one car, we got a little sniff of that draft, and we just sent it on the outside, and it stuck.
yeah, that was a good pass. It's funny because we talked about in qualifying. Me and Sabotage were talking, and I told Sabotage, I was like, Josh is probably the only person I've seen in heat that can consistently pass on the high side at Michigan. And I was like, you're probably going to see him do it a few times tonight, and there you go. That's how you got the win. So, pretty interesting. One thing I wanted to mention, mainly because I found it kind of funny, and you talked about it a little bit there. You were breaking that draft so hard, diving to the inside, because you did not want him sucking up to your rear bumper using that draft. So you were diving down to break that momentum. One time, you went a little bit too far. You covered too much track distance on that infield. And when you came back up, they were 3 car lengths closer. And I almost wondered if you were going to maybe cut back on the old draft break in there after that, but you kept doing it, so you were committed.
Oh yeah. Well, what happened is we actually got a little tight off the corner, and I overturned. I turned too much wheel into it, and I scrubbed too much speed on the exit. And what it was is I knew when Ashton was out in front of the one car, I knew he tried chasing me down for the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to see if he'd come down there where the bumps were and it was dirty track. I was trying to see if he'd come down there with me because I kind of practiced coming back up on the track and where I needed to hit my mark to make the turn. And since I scrubbed speed and I saw that, and as soon as I saw them making a move on me, I knew I had to get back up in front of them. Not so much for their sake, but for me, because the cars behind pack so much air on the leader.
Mm-hmm.
That it's literally like 10 more horsepower when I'm in front of them. So
yeah,
that's kind of why that point of the race was a little thrilling.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. We were talking about that. I'm like, I think maybe you should hold back on that a little bit after that because that could have cost him. But it all worked out. You got the win, and I don't think you've mathematically locked the championship in. I think it's close to being mathematically locked in, but I think it's safe to say that you know you're probably going to walk out of next week as the champion. So I think pretty much all you got to do is show up and like not finish last. So
Yeah, I know.
you
We went in. I think we went in tonight 24 points ahead. Is what I think I was being told, and um, I think we're about a 33, 34 point gap. So
yeah.
I'm just gonna do the same thing next week. I'm gonna go into it with a conservative setup, try to finish top three, and not worry about the win. Just kind of walk away with the season goal.
Yep. That's all you got to do. You did a phenomenal job building up that points gap even more than it was before. You got yourself a good cushion. It took you a while to get that cushion, second to last weekend, but you got it. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think what was it, like 6 races ago? I think I was down 20 points to Cobalt. So
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
been busting our butts to finish on a high note, and we had some lucky breaks, and he had some not so lucky breaks, and we had some good tracks, and just kind of working out the end of the season.
Yes, sir. Late season power run right there. But all right, for those of you watching at home, we're gonna cut the stream there. Definitely some interesting racing going on tonight. Next week's gonna be even more interesting. It's gonna be the championship race, Bristol, and then Homestead. That's gonna be pretty action packed. If nothing else, Bristol will be. So, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the flip side.